Social Security system is broken and on a path towards insolvency. Will benefits get cut? I don't think so, and I'll show you the one reason why. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, Social Security we know is broken. We know it is on it's on a path towards insolvency. Going as fast as it can right down a cul-de-sac. And so we've got to make an adjustment. And get this question all the time. I'm not kidding. I had this conversation with someone yesterday, and it was, will Social Security benefits be cut? You guys know that way back when they calculated Social Security, they were planning on a certain amount of funding, and people would retire, begin drawing their Social Security, and then their life expectancy would be maybe 10 years, and then that would be it. And so all of the actuarial analysis worked. And what that meant was, out of each paycheck, you have to pay that four-letter F word, FICA, and that FICA is 7.65%. Well, 6.2 of that 7.65 is what gets paid into the Social Security system. You pay that, but your employer matches that. Your employer basically pays FICA as well. They call it payroll tax, the same thing, same percentage, same amount. So that's what's going into the Social Security fund for you, okay? If you're self-employed, you know this as self-employment tax. It's the same thing. 12.4% then of self-employment tax, of the 15.3 self-employment tax, is going in the Social Security system. So that's what's been funding it, okay? And originally the calculations said that's the appropriate funding level based on all of the assumptions. Well, we know it was released, 15, 20 years ago that, guys, this is the math doesn't work. It doesn't work, and we're marching towards insolvency, and every single year they update this stress test, and that insolvency date has actually moved from 2037 to 2035 to 2034. Guys, we're now at 2033, okay? And there's a lot of assumptions baked into that. Will we see a recession? So will the workforce shrink, and therefore the amount of people paying into FICA, will that go down? Will wages continue to go up? I mean, who knows? And so lots of calculations. But guys, you got 10 years. 10 years before Social Security becomes insolvent. And what does insolvent mean? Well, or basically the current payments would drop to be in line with the current funding levels. Current funding levels are approximately 80% or 75%, something like that, of what people are receiving. And therefore, if nothing is done, if no fix is made, then benefits would drop from 100% of where they are right now, like the full amount, down to 80% or 75% of where they are right now. So that's what insolvency means. That's what that drop is. Are we going to see that drop? How likely is it? We know that we've got this enormous deficit. We know that our national debt is a embarrassment and a joke, and it's skyrocketing. And so, is this one of the areas that needs to be cut? And will they cut it? Or will they make some other change of increasing taxes or make some other adjustment to Social Security? Well, I get this question. We get this question all the time. And of course, I don't know. I don't know the future. And they're not asking me either. But I feel, and I feel even more strongly after the 2020 and that whole life experiment, I feel very confident that they're going to make other adjustments and not let Social Security become insolvent. Now, can I assure you of that? No, but I feel very confident of that, of them not letting Social Security drop and become insolvent. And there's one primary reason of that. There's one primary reason for that, and you can see it in this chart. This chart shows the amount of spending or consumption by age group, okay, by age group. And what you're seeing right there and at the very bottom is that, dark blue dot, and that's the amount of spending or consumption that is that's made up by people ages 25 to 34. Okay, and then you can see the other lines and the other colors there representing, it from 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64. which age group spends the most? That's right, retirees, age 65 or older, also known as the people receiving Social Security. And if our economy is obviously dependent on consumption, if you have a 20 to 25% reduction of income for that age group, what's going to happen to the economy? Well, if they don't have the income, they're not going to be able to spend that income, and if they don't spend that income, then it's not going to have that beneficial effect in the economy. Where if they don't have that income, they can't buy at Amazon, they can't go to Walmart, they can't do these sorts of things, and that's going to have a significant economic impact. The reason why, while this was always very clear, the reason why I feel even more strongly after 2020 is when we shut the economy down. Obviously, that meant when we said, "Hey, you got to stay home and you can't go out and you can't spend money, you can't do these things." We had to print $5 trillion. We still can't even fathom the ramifications that we'll be dealing with from that decades down, out in the future. But we realized, well, wait a second. If people can't go to work and if people can't go out, our economy has just ground to a halt. And therefore, the financial engine stops working. That can't really happen. And so therefore, let's print a whole bunch of money, give people helicopter money and so on to try to keep the economy moving. And so therefore, I just feel even more strongly that we've got this segment of the population that accounts for the most spending out there. It seems like economic disaster to allow Social Security to be insolvent. So, what other possibilities are more likely? Well, I think the most likely one is that they'll increase that FICA tax. And then I can hear it because I've done this analysis myself and thought through this as well. Well, wait a second, if they increase tax, then that means more money is going towards tax and is not going towards spending. Yeah, I get that. And yes, that tax then would be applied to all segments of this spending group other than the 65 plus. However, apparently from the math that Social Security Administration has sent out, if they increase that Social Security part of FICA by 1% each, then that should solve most of the problem, if not all the problem. And that equates to, about $1,000 increase in tax, versus what would otherwise be a extremely significant reduction in income for these retirees. So I'm not saying that I'm in favor of that. Oh my goodness, absolutely not. I already am sorely frustrated with our taxation system. However, I think that's a more likely solution that Congress will come up with. The other thing that I'm assuming they'll put in place as well is moving the full retirement age. They've already moved it from 65 to 67. My guess is they might move that to age 70 and allow benefits to continue to accrue and grow until age 72, something like that. We'll see. We've got 10 years for them to adjust it. What does this mean for you? How do you apply this this uncertainty and this opinion? Well, one, as you're building out your 5-factor retirement plan, I would take a look and see, well, what if my Social Security benefit is cut 20% or 25%? What does the plan look like? What adjustment would I need to make? Would I need to work an extra year, extra 2 years? Would I need to spend a little bit less? What adjustment would I need to make? Do that fire drill. It's not going to be fun, right? But you're not in control of this. And even as strongly as I feel that they're not going to let it go insolvent, it's possible, okay? So run that stress test. That's the first thing. Second, also, and this might not be actual math or actual planning that you need to do, but think through what would happen if they did increase the FICA tax. Is your budget so razor thin that if they increase taxes a little bit, $100 a month, that your finances, your monthly cash flow would crumble? I would work your budget to see, well, if that happens or when that happens, feel free, as will I, to be extremely frustrated if and when that happens. But manage your budget such that, well, if that happens, it's not going to rock the boat significantly. Might make you very frustrated and want you to, encourage you to vote a certain way. I have no idea, but it won't wreck your finances. So kind of work through that math or mentality. And then finally, I think depending on your age and where you're at in life, I would consider the thought that you might need to work a little bit longer to reach your retirement goals. And here's why I say that, because if they do in fact push that retirement age back, the full retirement age back further, if they then mean benefits, if that means benefits, no longer accrue until 70, they'll continue to grow like further than that, then there could be over the next 10 years this great kind of adjustment where people no longer anchor retirement to their early 60s or mid 60s, they begin anchoring it to their late 60s or 70s. And while that feels frustrating, yes, we are living longer and all of that, that is terribly frustrating to me as well, but that may be the direction things are going. And so start thinking through as well, what would it look like to work an extra year or an extra couple years? All of this, though, those are just suggestions, ideas. You've got to make it personal by working with your CFP, building out your 5-factor retirement plan, and do the stress test and see what conclusions you should draw. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.